Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Dr. Toomer Talks Show. I'm Dr. Catherine Toomer. I'm a family medicine and community health physician, and I'm founder of the Total Weight Care Institute. And what the Total Weight Care Institute is, it's an advocacy and educational institute and also a treatment center. And what we do is we provide complete and compassionate weight care for those who often feel like they're at the end of their rope, like they feel like they've just done everything they possibly can and have not had the results that they want. And so they come to me to find out the cause, the why of why things are happening, and we go after those causes. I also teach physicians and their mid levels how to provide complete and compassionate weight care to their patients, because we all know that often weight is what it is that we see, it's what we feel, it's what we can measure. And so it's often the reason that people walk through our door, but we all know that this caused by something else. Weight is simply a symptom, it's a side effect of something else. And it's our job as physicians, as clinicians, to find that something else and to get people healthy. And so that's what I do. Um, and I just want to say thank you for those who have come to today. And please say hello. And if you're watching later, say hashtag replay so I know. And if you have questions, I will answer them at the end. And also, if you post questions as comments with the video later, I will see them and I'll come back and circle back and answer them as well. I also ask that if you have subjects that you'd like me to talk about, if there's questions that you have, you can either ask me as a comment here, you can ask me as a comment with the video and once it's posted in my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, or on LinkedIn or on blackdoctor.org on their Facebook page and their YouTube channel, and I'll come back and I will answer them. But I do appreciate the interaction and I appreciate you coming. I also have Facebook groups that are listed on my Facebook page. So if you'd like to have a place where you can come ask me questions directly and get information, you can also come there. So, um, so thank you for being here. Good evening, Gerard, Val, Chris. Thank you again, Antonio. Thank you for being here. So what I wanted to talk about was intimacy and weight health. I talk about weight health because, like I said, weight is a symptom of something that we can see, we can measure. And so it's often the result of something else. So by focusing on weight health, now that's weight gain, weight staying the same and shifting muscle to fat. Fat to muscle, or losing weight or gaining weight, whichever it is, we can measure our health in ways through a scale for pounds that we can't always weigh everything else. We can't see what our kidneys are doing. We can't see what our heart is doing. We often can't see what our hormones are doing, but we can see the results of what they're doing in our weight. And that's why weight health is so important and why I focus on it so heavily, because like I said, it gives me the opportunity to find out the why. Weight is just the what. The why is what I look for and what many of us who help people with their weight look for. And so I want to talk about intimacy because really, what difference does our health make? I mean, really, why is it so important to be healthy? Why is it so important to have weight health? And it's because what health is, it's a state of being and a state of mind that means that your life is functioning in the way that you want it. Your life is functioning in a way that you feel you're in control of it. And so when you're unhealthy, you lose that control. When you are healthy, you have that control. And when you have that control, obviously life is such a better place. It's a better way of living. And intimacy is our connection, our connectedness to things around us, our relationships. Um, it is a closeness to, and it goes beyond physical connection, and it goes even beyond emotional, or it is partly emotional, but it doesn't have to just be with another person. It can be with a place, it can be with yourself, it can be with information. You can have an intimate relationship with lots of different things, food, and they're not, and it's not always romantic. It can be a friendship, it can be a relationship with someone within your family. But what it is simply is a closeness and a connectedness to something. And so when you take weight health and you take intimacy, they affect one another. And I'm going to explain how that is. We live in a society where our size matters. Society has told us that it shouldn't, and it's up to us to make it not matter. But because it does matter, we often judge ourselves, give ourselves a sense of self-worth based on what our size is or our perceived size. Many of us who have been overweight, myself, over 100 pounds overweight, had class 3 obesity, and type 2 insulin-dependent type 2 diabetes, still have congestive heart failure, though very stable and very functional with it. But all of us, no matter what our size, has felt that we were overweight, whether we were or whether we weren't, because it's a self-perception. Our self-worth is often tied to our size, which is often tied to our weight. And so when our self-perception is such that we judge ourselves based on what society says should be normal or otherwise, what we do is it affects how we see ourselves. And how we see ourselves is our filter. And our filter affects how we interact with the world. And so how we interact with the world is how we connect to the world. So do you see where I'm going here? Our weight, our self-perception, our connectedness to the world, our connectedness is intimacy. So how we view ourselves immediately affects how we connect to the world, the information, the people around us. And so having that connectedness really impacts the quality of our lives. And so understanding how health and weight health affects our connectedness and how we see the world is so important. And that's why I harp so much on love yourself regardless of your size. Do not tie your weight and your size to your self-love, because it does affect, and that means large size, meaning that you want to grow, you gain weight. I meet many people who feel they're too thin, they don't have enough curves, they want to gain weight, they want to gain size. And then I meet people who feel like they're too big, they want to lose weight, they want to lose size. And then others who's like, I just like the way I am, I just want to change it to muscle, I want to feel stronger. I just feel, or I'm too big throughout the middle and I wanted to, so we're very critical of the way we look and the way, but that criticism affects our self-worth. That criticism affects how we perceive ourselves, our self-esteem, and therefore how we view the world. Now, how we view the world and how we connect to the world, how we connect to other people is tied to our self-worth and our self-esteem. What we allow people to get away with, what we allow situations to happen, what we allow is largely based on how we see ourselves and what we feel we deserve. And therefore, what we feel we deserve is tied to our self-worth. Our self-worth and our self-esteem is often tied to our size, and our size is tied to our health. So now you see the connections I'm making. And so one of the reasons why I do focus so much on weight is simply because of that reason. It's not because weight in and of itself is good or bad. It's the health around it that matters. And so biologically, the reason why this is so important is because it's not really weight, actually, it's how much fat we have in our body. And what fat does in our body, it acts like its own organ when there's too much of it. It acts like its own hormonal organ. And that hormone that it gives off is mostly estrogen or estrogen-like substances. And when you're a woman, unfortunately, it's not the type of estrogen we can really use, but it does sort of interact with other hormones. With men, however, what it does is it interferes with their testosterone. And so what happens is all the things that make a man feel like a man gets countered by the hormone that fat gives off. Not only does it affect someone hormonally, but then that also then starts affecting them mechanically as well. It affects it affects libido. It affects the mechanics of how our body can function. So intimacy, if it's physical intimacy, it definitely comes into play. But if it's emotional intimacy, which often leads to physical intimacy, of course, then you see the connection again. So having our body in a place or in a space where we can get it to function in the way that we want to, then, and our weight is tied to that, or our fat level, I should say, is tied to that, then it's understandable that they're connected. So you want to have a healthy body that is cardiovascularly healthy, that can move, that has muscle strength, and all of those things are health related that can affect your weight, but then also affect your intimacy or your ability or your feeling of wanting to be intimate or your ability to be intimate, either physically, emotionally, or psychologically. But the psychosocial impact of intimacy and weight is our feeling of attractiveness. We equate intimacy with physical contact when in fact it's actually an emotional connection and connectedness. But if we don't feel attractive, we don't attract, or we attract what we feel. And so when we feel attractive, regardless of our size, regardless of our weight, then what we attract are the good things. And then we filter those things again through how we view ourselves, our self-worth. And so when you feel really good about yourself, regardless of where your body is, your self-esteem is such that it's strong. It allows you to maintain boundaries. It protects you from the negativity and from the ill intent of those around you. It protects you from the ill intent of yourself as well. Because what self-worth, self-esteem also does is it lends itself to discipline in our minds. And that mind discipline is what helps us then what we project out to the world. And so this is all, and it all ties into our coping mechanisms, our feeling of overwhelm or lack of overwhelm. It helps us to avoid adverse events because we are more protective of ourselves, and it prevents isolation. When you feel down on yourself, if you feel like you're not worth very much or your self-esteem is being affected, what happens is that we tend to, if we're strong, often what we'll do is we'll isolate ourselves because we feel like we're at risk. And so rather than risk the adverse events that may come along with interacting with other people based on the bad things that we think are going to happen because of the way we think about ourselves, we just stay alone and we hide. And so self-affection is a way to counter that. And the way to increase your self affection is what you tell yourself. So however something comes at you, how you filter it, how you process it, how you determine what it means is all based on how you see yourself. And so that self-worth, that level of intimacy, that weight health is all tied together. And that level of intimacy can also be with yourself. It doesn't have to be external. It can also be internal. And so realistically, when our body does what we want it to do, when it's able to perform the tasks that we want it to perform, then we are physically healthy, and that lends itself to being psychologically healthy. And that psychological health lends itself to having social, biological health, psychological health, social health, and therefore lends itself to intimacy health as well. And so I hope this all makes sense. But I see it's really hard to separate the psychological from the biological and the social because they're all interconnected. And that's why biopsychosocial approach to weight health is so important because there's no part of us that is not touched by it. So again, for those of you who are just joining, I'm Dr. Catherine Toomer, and I am a family medicine and community health physician and founder of Total Weight Care Institute. And I talk about all things health, wellness, and weight care related because they're all interconnected. And if you have questions, please ask me now. I'm going to go through some of the comments. I know I saw some from before. Let me see if I can. I'm going to move this piece of paper away because I don't want it to. I just kind of keep notes so I can help myself. See, oops. So is it not letting me scroll up? I hope I didn't lose any comments because, oh, there we go. Oh, Sherry mentions that this is something I have rarely thought about. You are incredible. Oh, thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. Jennifer says, howdy. Howdy, Jennifer. And then let me see. Melva says, praise the Lord through whom all blessings flow. Yes, thank you. Val agrees 100%, and I appreciate that. So tell me, I just, since you're here and you're listening, well, first of all, I just want to say hi. Thank you. The other is just a show of hands. Does this make sense to you? And if there's any part of it that didn't make sense, ask me a question or just, let me know and I can reiterate it. Or if there's something more in depth of what I've said that you'd like me to explain a little more, that would also, I can see your comments and I'll do that. Well, Chris, I appreciate you saying I'm always spot on. I appreciate that. And Black's Tropical Homestead says, it makes total sense. So if you have questions, ask me now. We got a few more minutes. Val says, I'm losing weight, but have tried for so many years. And now I'm not sure my mind is ready. It's a big psychological difference. How do I work with this? So when I talk about weight loss, it's not just physical weight. It's also psychological weight. So it sounds like there's some weight you need to lose that's in here first. And sometimes the biggest weight you have to lose is in your head, not anywhere else. When it depends on your why. And your why often changes depending on if you want to lose weight because you want to look a certain way, that is absolutely fine. Psychosocial health is also tied to our way we look, and that's fine. As long as you're able to like yourself now as you are, and so that you'll like yourself later as you become. If you don't like the way you look now, if you can't bring yourself to love every part of you now, it's very difficult to then do that when you've lost weight, physical weight. Because what you'll do is you'll shift the dislike of what you see now to something else. And I see this often, I'm way too much. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. So you lose weight and then it's like, oh, my skin's wrinkly. Oh, I've got cellulite. Oh no, my stomach's not as thin as my legs and my arms. If you don't lose that, if you gain that self-love, it transfers. If you don't have that self-love, that also transfers. And so the first thing to do is to start liking yourself where you are right now. That's the first weight you've got to lose. Then after that, then it becomes, what do you do that makes you feel good? You start focusing on the things that make you feel good, feeling stronger. If you start muscle work, you feel strong. It just makes you stronger. It makes you feel better. It gives you a sense of well-being. And that's something that you can work on now. And take the shift away from the number on a scale. The other is make sure that whatever was there as the cause of the weight gain is being addressed. Is it a psychological cause? Is it a medical cause? Is it a hormonal cause? Is it, a social cause? Is it because of the way you cook or the way you shop or the way, the activities that you engage in? Or is it because you're under a lot of stress? Or is it because you're going through menopause? Or is it because of something else? Is it because you have underlying uh, glucose dysregulation or hypothyroidism or something else. All those things need to be determined because, again, weight is a symptom of something else, and you've got to find the something else to determine how to counter it. Um, Black Tropical Homestead, I love that name, says, I found that once I got hormones in check, I was able to lose weight in a healthy manner. And it depends on which hormones, because there are many, many hormones in our body that lend itself to weight gain and weight loss. Estrogen, cortisol, insulin, um, norepinephrine, epinephrine. So it really just depends on which one. The one that causes people the most problems that they're most unaware of is cortisol. That's the stress hormone. And that does lend itself to significant weight gain because of the effect it has on our glucose dysregulation. Jennifer says, yes, my 90-pound loss has changed how I feel about intimacy. I stress about all the loose skin. Hubby likes my closer hugs. I've recently started HRT. How does HRT and weight loss hormones interact? Well, HRT and weight loss hormones, they don't really, it's not directly. So what estrogen is usually what you're replacing when you take hormone replacement therapy. When our estrogen drops, it leaves our cortisol unopposed. Our cortisol then pushes us into insulin resistance, meaning that it makes our body make more insulin, and our insulin is what makes our body make fat. And so when you take hormones, what it does is it starts shifting that away from our body becoming a fat making machine. But mostly what hormone replacement does, it also gives us a sense of well-being. When our estrogen drops, that is the hormone that makes us the essence of who we are as women. So when it drops, we lose some of that. And so when we replace it, it comes back. The other thing it does is it helps us sleep better. When you lose sleep, it also lends itself to weight gain. When you take hormones, it stops the hot flashes. It stops a lot of things that actually lend themselves to behaviors that lead to weight gain, not so much to the weight gain directly. But yes, but what I was talking about, the loose skin is the privilege of having gotten healthier. And I'm going to repeat that. You lost 90 pounds. You are so much healthier because that is fat loss. And the loose skin is the privilege you enjoy for having gotten healthier. Don't stress over it, embrace it. Because that is a sign that you are much, much healthier than before. Val says, I lose weight for health, strength, and to continue to be active in retirement. It does make a difference, especially when you add muscle toning, muscle building, muscle strengthening to that process, because it lends itself to better movement, to better independence, to fewer falls, which is a problem as we get older. If you fall and break a hip, the mortality rate is about 6 months. Most people die within 6 months of falling and breaking a hip. I'm sure some of that number has dropped some because of advances in medication and medicine, but it still lends itself to a high mortality rate. So not falling is tied directly to our core muscle strength and our extremity muscle strength, and therefore not having as much weight to carry around, having more muscle to do the work we need to do, does lend itself to a longer and better quality of life. Black Tropical Homestead, again, I just love that name, says, I love the way you look at, but I want to continue to live, so I want to lose a few pounds for my health. Well, this is the thing. Instead of losing the pounds for your health, get healthy and your body will lose the pounds. That's the other. And if your body needs to lose the pounds to get healthy, it will do that. But if you're getting healthy and your body doesn't lose the pounds, then that means that's not the part of their health that needs to be addressed. Your body will go where it goes when you get healthy. Jennifer says, I still have about 50 pounds to go post-menopause. Again, your body will go where it goes. So one of the things I do not do is I don't put numbers to health. If you notice, I never say to be healthy, you need to be a certain weight, or to be healthy, you have to have a goal weight. In fact, I say quite the opposite. Don't put a number on health, put a health on your numbers. So your hemoglobin A1C should be a healthy number. Your blood pressure should be a healthy number. Your cholesterol should be a healthy number. Your weight is going to go where it goes. There's no such thing as a healthy number. It's only when those other numbers are healthy that your weight matters or doesn't matter, because your body, again, will go where it goes. I'm just trying to go up a little bit here because I'm losing. Okay. Inger says, I'm losing weight really slowly with the aid of a GLP-1. What's the average per week? You should lose, for healthy weight loss, it should be 0.5 pound to 2 pounds at most a week. Slow weight loss is good. It gives your body a chance to adjust to the change. It stops your brain from thinking you're starving, so it won't stop the process. It also, if we didn't, like I said, I at one point was over 100 pounds heavier than I am now. I did not get there overnight. I got there over years and years and years and years and years. So losing it over years and years and years and years and years. And so and I can tell you the majority of my weight, and this is what I always recommend, and not just because it's me, was early on without GLP-1 and then later with. But still, it's been over 23 years. It took me almost 10 years to get there. So it's not going to take, it shouldn't be done overnight. The other is the psychological changes that occur when you lose weight. Your body image changes. Your people around you change, the way they treat you change, the way they see you changes. And so the slower you lose it, all those things tend not to cause you as much problem. You tend not to have as much of a gauntlet to have to fight through when you're losing weight slowly, and everything around you psychologically, physically, and socially adjusts along with you. Let me see. We grow and raise majority of our foods, make everything from scratch. Meds, cleaning products, food mainly come from our land. This lifestyle has helped tremendously. Absolutely. I would love to learn more. And so don't be surprised if I contact you, because I really, really would love to hear more. Val said, what's your opinion on pellets for women? I'm over 60 and on Manjaro and metformin for diabetes. Meaning, when you say pellets, I'm assuming you mean hormonal pellets. There are already well-established FDA-approved medications for hormone replacement that we know works. Pellets are not regulated. There's a lot of money involved in how pellets are made and sold, and not regulated. And when you put money and unregulation together, it lends itself to danger. You just don't know what you're getting. So better to go with what you know than rather than what you don't know. And there are many insert in suppository type medications that are FDA approved that work just as well, actually work better and work well, and they are locally used. So if you don't want systemic medication, there are local medications, creams, and suppositories and pills that are vaginally inserted that work well and that are safe, and they don't raise any estrogen levels within the system. So if it's contraindicated because of some family history of breast cancer, for example, then they won't do that. They won't cause a problem. Chris says, exercising with weights, start light and build will help tremendously with loose skin. Absolutely. Surgery really, surgery and good care to your skin is the best prevention. I mean, not surgery, sorry. Taking good care of your skin is the best prevention. Staying hydrated, staying moisturized. Losing weight slowly also lends itself to giving your skin time to recover. It also depends on how much it's been stretched from whatever, because of how much weight you've lost or at what age you lost that weight as well. The best way to change the appearance of your skin is to change the appearance of the muscle or build the muscle up underneath that skin. But again, if you like the way you look, it doesn't matter what there is. You just enjoy your body and thank it for what it's done for you, because what it's done is giving you the opportunity to live a lot longer and a lot better and a lot healthier, and to function in a way that um, is more enjoyable. And that's really what matters. And so it's not what you're looking at, it's how you're looking at it. So Andrew asks, what's the first step to getting healthy? The first step to getting healthy is asking that question, actually, to be quite honest. The first step is just wanting to be healthier. And there's no such thing as being healthy. Healthy suggests that there's an end point. There is no end point. You just get healthier and you strive to be that all the time. So it is they say the journey is the destination. So you're always doing things a little better or a little more, a little healthier than you did before. And not to the point of overwhelm. Because if you get so overwhelmed that you stop it all, then it defeats the whole purpose. So you do it at a pace that you can maintain, that you're comfortable with, that you can grow with as you get older and as you continue. And as long as you do that, because it can be a healthy attitude, it can be healthy physically, it can be healthy socially. So you have to be healthy on every single level in order to be considered healthier. So that's your friendships, your work life, your stress levels, how you think about yourself, what you say to yourself, what you say to other people, how you interact with other people, and how you treat your body and how your body interacts with the world. So Black's Tropical Homestead said the body has its ability to heal itself as long as we give it the right conditions. Absolutely. We have tools. But like I've said, there's a bell curve, as we call it. So you can start here and you go here and you go there. As long as you catch yourself here, the sooner you catch yourself from falling, from getting away from health, the easier it is to bring yourself back to a level of healthiness. But if there's a point where it kind of goes over, and it's really hard to pull yourself back over from there. And so the earlier you start, the better. And the easier you are able to maintain what you do, then or sustain what you do, then the more likely you are to stay healthy. Because if you can't sustain it, then it defeats the whole purpose. Val says, I'm on 7.5, feel like I'm melting. I'm thinking staying on this dose a while. If you feel like you're melting and you're losing weight more than 2 pounds a week, you may want to consider cutting back, because you want to make sure that weight loss is fat loss and not muscle. Because once you lose muscle, you lose your metabolism. When you lose muscle, it takes a healthy process and turns it into an unhealthy one. Val says you're on estrogen and testosterone. Yes, low dose testosterone really does help women. Women produce testosterone as well. It's not just a male hormone. And we produce it to help maintain our muscle mass. And so as we get older, if we start dropping, that's why we start losing muscle. So maintaining testosterone does help with muscle mass. Estrogen is a good hormone, particularly by itself. If you don't have a uterus, if you do have a uterus, then protecting the uterus lining with progesterone is always recommended. We grow and make wild yam cream. What's your take on wild yams and holistic health? Well, yams definitely has a hormonal effect. Anything grown in the ground is as healthy as the soil is grown in. So if you have healthy soil and you don't add pesticides, then anything grown is going to be healthier than anything processed. As far as wild yams versus domestic, I couldn't tell you, but I do know that yams in and of themselves are highly, highly nutritious, and they do have an impact on hormone stabilization. So Andrew says, understood a lifestyle. Lifestyle, yes, is important. Lifestyle, but not based on what people say. Like if you eat a certain way and you exercise a certain way, then you should look a certain way. What lifestyle is simply that, given the tools that you have, given the life that you have, you do the best you can within that life. So if it's financial, if it is location, is it geographic, is it age related, is it gender, is it whatever you have, you use it to the best of your abilities. There is no perfect way of doing anything. Jennifer says, Val, congratulations. I've remained on 5 milligrams Manjaro for over a year. Type 2 diabetes, slow loss, 90 pounds. A1C lowered from 8.9 to 5.2 in a year. And this is something I want to bring up. Jennifer, absolutely wonderful. That 8.9 A1C going to 5.2 is hugely beneficial to your health. That is what afforded that weight loss. Weight loss was just a secondary or a symptom, a side effect of your diabetes control. That's it. So I know we focus a lot on weight because that's what we can measure. We can measure our blood sugars on a daily basis, but most people don't unless they are diabetic. And it doesn't take much to correct it. And that's wonderful. I'm really glad. And especially, and then you add muscle toning, muscle work to that, and you're just really golden. Our health should always be our wealth. Absolutely, it is. Whether we admit it or not, it is. Let me see. It is so unwise to teach our children early, so hard to come back, but not impossible. That is true. The younger you learn how to better take care of yourself, the better. Children learn by example. They learn by imitation. They do what their parents do. So if we want our children to have healthy habits, we want our children to be healthy adults that's psychologically healthy, biologically healthy, and socially healthy, they need to see the same in us. So Val says, yes, definitely have a healthy amount of muscle and don't want to lose it. Absolutely. Muscle maintenance is very important. Sort of like calcium and bone. The earlier you start, the better. So we chose this lifestyle to get away from pesticides and chemicals. Absolutely. Growing your own food is the best way you can do. But again, that is good for people who are able. I live in a semi-rural area. So yeah, we can grow in a place where the weather is mild. So yes, growing our food is very easy. It's not always the case for most people, but that is the difference between our grandparents' generation and now, is how our food was manufactured, how our food was created. And so that has made a difference. But any other questions? Any other comments? Well, I really appreciate the interaction today. I really appreciate you coming and sharing your experiences. That really does matter. And you don't really, and I don't know if you realize this, but by your posting your stories, you are helping other people. It gives me the opportunity to teach. It gives people the opportunity to see examples of what it is that they can, of the possibilities of what can happen. And so it's really very, very, very good that you were able to come and share. And I appreciate that very much. And there are people out there who you've made a difference to, because reading other people's stories, hearing about other people's stories, and understanding why they are, that is the case, is always beneficial. So this is great conversation. We appreciate you for helping. Many blessings to you all. Thank you so much. Val says, I love your teaching style. Thank you. I love teaching and I'm so glad, because I really do appreciate it. And I love feedback. So even if there's something that, you want to see that you think would be helpful, please let me know. I really would like to know. And I would love to be able to share information that people find useful. So just let me know if there's topics that you'd like to speak about. Joy said, this is soul food. Thank you, from Barbados. Oh my goodness. Thank you for joining in. I appreciate you being here. So again, for those of you, I am Dr. Catherine Toomer. You can find this, if you want to go back and listen again, you can find this on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel. There are many, many videos, over 100 videos there of all different types of information. So you can go there and listen to some of my older videos, subscribe. And anytime I post anything, even outside of my Tuesday evenings, which I'm here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. live, but I also do other videos. So if you want to see those and you want to be aware that they are being posted, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get alerted when that happens. Andrew asks, is there an updated chart that suggests what healthy glucose and other health-related numbers should be? Now, again, I'm of the mindset, and many doctors are, that you treat the person, not the numbers. However, there isn't an updated chart of what healthy glucose is simply because we pretty much know what a healthy glucose should be. Fasting glucose in the morning should be between 70 and 100. After eating, it should be 100, between 100 and 120, 140 at the highest. You really want to keep your blood sugars below 140. Now, if you have spikes, if you have spikes, that could mean there's something underlying, like you're on the verge of diabetes, you're pre-diabetic, or you're pre-diabetic, which is what we call insulin resistance, which is actually being called now type 3 diabetes, which, it may just be to alert people that it's serious, that it's something we should be paying attention to. But yes, there are. Hemoglobin A1C, any up to 5.6 is considered, normal. Over 5.7 is considered pre-diabetes. Up to 6.5 and over is considered diabetes. However, you can have glucose dysregulation with low A1C. So that's why it's important to know your blood sugars total. Also, to if you start gaining, weight, like I said, weight is a side effect. It's a symptom. So if you start gaining weight and nothing else has changed, your eating hasn't changed, your moods haven't changed, your sleep hasn't changed, then there could be something underlying, some metabolic issue. And so getting a glucose tolerance test and an insulin level sometimes shows that. Checking your thyroid as well, or it could be some other hormone, like dropping in estrogen because of menopause, or change in testosterone for men. So it's always good to get checked. Like I said, weight changes are always an indication of something else. It's just the what, it is not the why. All right. Well, thank you for joining. I appreciate you being here tonight, and I will see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. for the Dr. Toomer Talks Show. Good night.